the network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.
It's Tom Albright with an AVNation special, talking to, I'm going to call him a legend, even though he'll kind of bristle at that, Tom Kehr, now with Almo. Welcome, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Don't quite consider myself a legend. I know plenty of legends. Like I've told my kids, hang around the smart people.
Well, yeah, that's but see, this is the thing. I consider you one of the smart people.
Only because I've hung around the smart people.
Well, and you teach people. And that's the thing is I met you and got familiar with you years ago with AVIXA. You spent a number of years as an instructor with AVIXA, teaching CTS, D prep, I prep. And now you are with the fine folks at Almo. We're going to talk about Almo's E4V, which both of us are involved with. But first, talk about that move and what kind of Almo has done, quite frankly, for the last 10 years, 11 years of their existence, where when it comes to education and educating the industry and kind of what you're doing with them now.
Yeah, it's funny. I still kind of have the new car smell with Almo. Yeah. I've only been here a month. Now, I had been familiar with Almo doing some of their E4 sessions in person over the years. And there's two things that really kind of stuck out during the E4s. First off, from my vantage point, the events always looked seamless and very smoothly run. And since I had been with AVIXA, to make an event look that good requires a lot of work. And the people that I met with Almo really enjoyed being there, and many of them have been there for a long time. Tells me a lot about the culture of the place. But obviously they have invested a lot into education, doing the E4s around the country and the whole bit. So folks with their CTS, CTSD, CTSI can get renewal units, the RUs that you need for every 3 years. Yeah. So they've been doing a big push that way. And then I became available, and I am kind of on board with doing some pre-sales consulting, as well as doing some training, internal and external. So that's kind of nice, because really my heart is in training. We get into some of these calls and stuff, and it's very hard for me not to go into teaching mode, one of those kind of things. And I'm not taking away from Almo's engineering services, it's amazing to me the breadth and depth of Almo, because they can provide not just the boxes, but complete turnkey solution if you wish. Everything from the CAD drawings to installation if need be. So that's been quite an eye-opener.
And the other thing that they've added to it in the last 2 years has also been programming, right? And yes, regardless of what system you're using, old programmer here, so programming still gets me excited. Programming offerings that they have, because the one thing about systems programming and just control programming in general, regardless of who you're using, and we can talk about several different platforms here, they all have kind of their own idiosyncrasies. They've all got their own gotchas, but also their own efficiencies. And you guys are able to kind of say, okay, what are you trying to do, right? What are you trying to do? And here's 2 or 3 options that you can pick, and then your team can then help them program that.
Yeah, actually you hit on a key there. What are you trying to do? And that's key to any successful AV project, trying to figure out what the client's trying to do. And at some point you apply technology to it, but trying to get the head in the actual process. So that's been kind of nice. So that part has been fun, because I was a senior system designer before coming full-time with AVIXA.
Okay. And
one of the nice things about being an instructor as opposed to a designer is I got to tell people how to do it right, not argue with them about how they should do it right. So that was kind of refreshing. One of the other things too, because I've been on staff with AVIXA so long, we had to be product and manufacturer agnostic.
Yeah. So
I had to learn how to say things without really saying what I thought, because it's not like any AV guy has an opinion on anything.
No.
I've been told once that the only thing 2 sound guys can agree on is how to spend a 3rd sound guy's money.
I would agree with that. Yeah, I would agree with that. They came and agree on how to check a microphone. Because why sound guys don't say three.
No,
just
three.
check one,
Yeah,
two.
you have to lift. Yeah.
Yeah, because you have to lift on three. Old joke, kid.
Yes, I know, but I'm having to get my head back in products.
And giving opinions on products, no less.
And specific products. And it's actually one of the things I missed being with Avixa as opposed to a designer, because I enjoy the minutia.
Yeah.
I enjoy that kind of stuff, as most designer types would. So that part is fun again. But I look at the current state of where we are with all of our technology just to get a signal from point A to point B. And we're stuck basically using consumer stuff to do this, HDMI. And I've got to convert that to something, whether it's HDBaseT or Ethernet or whatever, and then convert it back at the end. And the boxes to do all this don't come inexpensively. So, my dream really is to have a source that internally converts that HDMI, because we're stuck with that, to Ethernet, go through an Ethernet switch in the middle, and at the end, the box itself converts that Ethernet back to HDMI. No different than I want to print this document and send it to a specific printer on the network. I'd love to have it that simple. But in the meantime,
it'll get there eventually.
Yeah, but it's crazy right now. That's the part that just, we've got to have all this stuff and
all of this proprietary stuff. No.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Which I think, and we've heard this AV-IT convergence forever. As more and more of the AV falls under the jurisdiction of IT, what do they want to manage? Proprietary AV stuff or their standard Ethernet stuff? Yeah. They're familiar with Ethernet. They know how that stuff works. So having just an Ethernet switch in the middle, and at some point with the resolutions that keep going up, I can imagine it's going to have to be like a 10 gig infrastructure to do so. And there's some folks out there playing that.
Or 40 gig.
Nice.
That is the next, the next game. So not to get off into too much of a rabbit trail.
But it's 8K native. What's that? Almost 72 gigabit per second.
Native.
Oh my. Yeah, native, uncompressed. It's crazy.
It is crazy. All right. You and I are joining each other, sort of, kind of, the 27th through the 29th of October. You're doing your sessions live. Mine are already recorded and baked in, as it were. 1 hour is what I get, both on meetings as well as pro audio. You're doing yours, though, live. This is also your first E4V as a member of Almo.
Right.
So tell folks, what they're going to see the 27th through the 29th of October.
Yeah, it's a lot of good stuff. The nice part is it's all fresh content. Okay. So this is stuff that has not been presented before. And there are some great folks doing it. Chuck Espinoza, we mentioned him before the call. He's doing some presentations. Jonathan Braun.
Yep.
If you know the Braun Consulting and stuff, Alan and Jonathan have been around forever. I know Chuck Wilson is doing a session. One of the Almo BDMs, I think it's Jake, and I'm just pulling this up so is also doing a session. So over the 3 days, none of it's being repeated. So you're free to join in for any and all of this. Gary Kay obviously needs no introduction. He's doing some stuff as well. And again, I'm just breezing through the 3 days. I'm actually on the 29th. And one thing, and I saw Kay Sargent in there as well.
Yep.
The whole workplace design and whatnot. That's one of the things that really, you talked about control, user interface, and all the other kind of stuff earlier. That's the thing historically where I don't think we've done a great job serving our end users, is we design control systems like AV people, not like end users.
Mm-hmm.
So that, so having her in there, and one of the things on my session on 29th, and it's not advertised, is I'm also going to be joined by Donald Kazakis of HB Live. He's the vice president of HB Live. Yeah, that's a blast. He and I talked a couple of weeks ago, just talking about, where is all of this going? And some folks have used the term, new normal, and he prefers the term post-COVID, which I think is a better way to describe it.
It is a better way. I like that. I'm going to steal that.
Yeah. So, what is all of this going to look like post-COVID? And I've got a quote in there from Stuart Weiser, who's still with Avixa. People still want to meet, eat, and greet.
Yep.
It's going to happen. Now, how that occurs is going to look different until people are fully comfortable with gathering together in large groups again. So how is that going to look? And we'll take a look at some resources as well to help people through this, because as you begin to plan an event, you need to make sure you're doing your due diligence, with sanitization and how do you get people in and out and all of the other things that go with this, because it's going to add logistics to it.
Mm-hmm.
If you're doing and I've done plenty of live events before, if your event is running late, the hotel or convention folks will dang near run you over trying to get the room turned.
Yeah.
Well, now you're going to have to sanitize that space in between. So there's a lot more logistical concerns as we move forward. And you would be aware of this, the whole live events production, that whole part of our industry, most of those folks have not worked since March.
Yeah.
Not
in any real way. Obviously there are hits and misses, and there are a lot of them that are transitioning to the virtual space, but not in any real way.
But I think of friends of mine and stuff in that part of the industry, and it's just, and some folks have talked about this, it may not look like it did before until like 2022.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in the meantime, you still have to eat.
You do.
So you've got to find something to do. So when things do ramp back up, where do you find the valued talent that you had before?
Yeah.
Are they going to be able to come back, or are you going to have to grow your own all over again?
And that's a whole nother, hurdle to tackle, probably about a year from now.
It is. I had a side business for 16 years doing sound reinforcement when I lived up in the DC area. And I think about all of the artists and groups and everything else during the summer touring season. That's their income.
Yeah. And you've got several, the local economies as well as, both, the touring groups. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's pretty stunning. Thankful to be in the segment of the industry that I'm in. Somebody was talking about this the other day. We're down so much percentage, and it's and they had a really good viewpoint. It's like we're at the levels, or they were at the levels they were in 2017. So yeah, you had growth in 18, and 19 was one heck of a year, and everybody expected 20 to be just gangbusters. But in hindsight, okay, we're back at about 2017. That's not so bad.
No.
In that kind of context. So yeah, in all of this, there's still positive to be found. Yeah, things are down, but there's still positives to be found.
Absolutely.
So that's a good thing.
I like that. Let's end on that note. Tom Kehr from Almo, Almo Pro AV. You can find him October 27th through the 29th, specifically the 29th. You can catch his session. You can find out more about Almo E4V at almoproav.com. Tom, if somebody wants to get a hold of you, how do they do that?
Smoke signals. No, just kidding.
You are not that old.
I still have a rotary phone over here. It is real simple. Email is the best way, and that's going to be tkehr@almo.com.
All right, very good. Tom Kehr from Almo E4V, the 27th through the 29th. You can catch him on the 29th. You can catch me throughout there. Also Gary K. and our buddy, Mr. Dave Haynes from 16.9, as well as Chuck Espinoza. All kinds of really great education for us, for AVNation. Go by our website, avnation.tv. That's avnation.tv. You'll find our coverage of E4V as well as a host of other programs. All that and more at avnation.tv. avnation.tv.